Thank you, Doug. Our next speaker is Tony Carlucci from Chalet Debonnaire in Madison, Ohio. Chalet Debonnaire has also been in existence since 1971. Tony studied under Dick Vine at Mississippi State and has been at Chalet Debonnaire since 1981. Tony?
Thank you, Jim. Good morning, everybody, panel, audience. I'd like to start off telling a little bit of a story that happened yesterday. In 1979, when I was going to Mississippi State University, I transferred from Coldskill to upstate New York, and at that time, basically, Blush wasn't in existence. And yesterday, during the tasting, one of the breaks, I was outside the room here, and I was talking with a gentleman. He came up to me and said, "Hello, Tony, how you doing?" And I said, "Hi, how you doing there?" And he said, I said, talking a little bit and chit-chatting, and Bob Bergen was here now. How I can forget him. Part of the story is I've been in the industry maybe a little bit too long. I'm forgetting my past a little bit, but when you graduate with two students, myself and Bob Bergen in 1981, when we first graduated to Mississippi State University, you don't remember the other person. It's pretty bad, so. But it's kind of embarrassing, more or less, but basically. But in 1979, Blush, like I said, wasn't basically in existence. The White Zinfandel movement started probably in the early 80s out in California, and then moved quickly east. We developed our Blush in 1989 at Chalet Debonnaire Vineyards. The topic I'll be talking about in the panel is the Blush temporary or permanent market niche. I think definitely the Blush wines are here to stay. These wines provide the American consumer an easy-to-drink, light, fruity, with usually some sweetness on the palate that is easily enjoyed and matched with a variety of foods. Now this morning I'm going to be talking about two wines. We make two Blushes at Chalet Debonnaire Vineyards, both here on the table. One is our Debonnaire Vineyards, it's called Harmony, and the one that we started with in 1989 is our Debonnaire Blush. I'm going to talk about the Debonnaire Blush first, and then about winemaking, and then I'm going to talk about the Harmony. The Blush is a Vidal Chamberson blend. The Vidal is picked, it's brought in, processed quickly through our Amos crusher, pressed with our 4-ton Booker press. The juice is settled overnight, usually at around 50 degrees in the fall season up along Lake Erie where we're located. It is racked the following day, inoculated in stainless steel, and it is kept in stainless through aging. That's the Vidal Blanc part of it. Blending is then done with the Chamberson depending on color, taste, and pH. The Chamberson is picked, crushed into vats, fermented. We use 205-6 Lavlin yeast. It is kept on its skins for about 10 days depending on the year. Pressed, chapelized, inoculated with ML. ML is usually completed within 2 months after the beginning of the initial fermentation. Again, color is very important when making up the Blush. Obviously, you want something that is attractive to the consumer. You try not to get any oranges in there from oxidation. We've worked with different enzymes and vitamin C with some success. It's real important that the pH is as low as possible. You have 10 times more color, stability at a pH of 3 than 4, and that's real important when making a Blush. When you go into taste, of course, the flavors are very important. You want a good balance. You want to have a good sugar to acid ratio, fruit structure. Structure is how the overall flavors fit together. You want something that is very consumer-oriented and easy to drink and not too complex. I think definitely a Blush is a fun wine. Your Chardonnay and Cabernet drinkers might not drink a Blush, but I think the American public enjoys it, and they want something that's easy to drink and something that's not too complex, basically fun. Then pH is also, like I said, is very important for color stability, bottle longevity, and to be marketable. Okay, now that's the Blush. Secondly, I'd like to talk about our Debonnaire Vineyards Harmony. About 2 years ago, we came out with Harmony. It was a wine that was developed basically to for the consumer that comes to the winery. Kind of have something special for your customers that come to the winery. These are both sold also through the wholesale, but we want to have something that is rewarded to the customer that comes up and enjoys the atmosphere at the winery. The Harmony is a blend of a 30% Chardonnay, 30% Cabernet Sauvignon, and 40% Johannesburg Riesling. These wines are made separately and then blended before bottling. Let's see quickly. Okay. At first, the Harmony was made just to be sold at the winery, retail sales. Quickly, it received interest through the our wholesale accounts. We now distribute it directly and through our 2 distributors statewide. Harmony is an interesting wine, and it's one that we have here to taste after the discussion this morning. And it's one that I have, I believe, 2 bottles are chilled and 2 bottles are going to be at room temperature. And the reason for this is that after we developed the wine and bottled it and started selling this, we found out that it kind of was a chameleon of wines, whereby if you serve it chilled, the Johannesburg Riesling dominates in flavors, and as it warms up, it goes through kind of a Chardonnay phase and then a Cabernet Sauvignon phase, and it's real interesting. It's kind of a wine that you can serve at any temperature with a very wide variety of foods. Our blush wine is in our Chalet Devaney Vineyard line. It is sold for $4.50 per bottle retail, $3.49 wholesale, and we also give it 10% off per case. Are there any questions so far? Excuse me?
How much is the Harmony?
Okay, John, yeah. The Harmony is in our Devaney Vineyards line, sold for $7.46 per bottle and $4.97 wholesale. That by the case is then given a 20% discount.
I have a question. When do you mix the Vidal and Jameson together?
Usually about a month or so before bottling, we check stabilities.
So after malolactic is totally over?
Yes, yes.
Absolutely. And what percentages do you use as a range between the Vidal and the Jameson?
It's approximately about 90% Vidal and 10% Chamberson. Again, depending on the year of the color in the Chamberson, depends on the amount that we add to that. Okay, any other questions? Yes, sir.
Skin contact time on Chamberson?
It's about 10 days. We average about 10 days on it. We try to get as much color as we can. Usually comes in toward the end of October. It's usually quite cold, the fruit, by then. A lot of times out, daily temperatures could be 45 or 50, and the night temperatures by the end of October could be down in the 30s up our way. So we want to get it somewhat heated if we can, and get as much color extraction as we can. In our area, generally the Chamberson is a little bit light color, as opposed to the Chambersons made in this part of the country. Dick Naylor, for one, gets almost a black Chamberson. He gets a lot of color down here. But up our way, the Lake Erie region, basically the Chamberson is a little bit light in color. We just get a medium color. So we try to get as much color out as we can by keeping it on the skins for 10 days. And that usually doesn't extract too much tannins. Most of the French hybrids are very light in tannins also. Okay, 1989, excuse me, first sold our, first year selling our blush wine. We sold 1,775 gallons, about approximately 740 cases. In 1992, last year, we sold about 2,500 gallons, and that's about 1,042 cases, which was approximately a 41% increase over the 4-year period. Our Harmony sales, the 2 years that we've had now so far, 1990, we sold about 300 cases. In 1991, we sold 328 cases. That's approximately a 9% increase. So they sold real well for us, and we've been real pleased. A little bit on the marketing. Last year, about a year ago, the owner of Chalet Devaney Vineyards, and this is Ira Thomas, this is our advertising agency president, was on the cover of Vineyard and Winery Management. It tells a little bit of the story of our marketing campaign. I'll just kind of highlight a little bit of that article here. 1991, our sales campaign in Youngstown, Ohio, was a very successful pilot project. We spent about $65,000, Chalet Devaney Vineyards, and the advertising agency of Ira Thomas and Associates incorporated print material, 2 30-second commercials running over a 13-week period. We ran, I believe it was 3 weeks weeks on and 2 weeks off. We incorporated an 800 number, and our advertising agency's exposure via public relations routes made the sparkling campaign project a success. With dollar sales up by 89% in the September to December 1991 period, basically the holiday period. Sales volume in the Youngstown area increased by 65%. We have extended, this past holiday season, we extended our ad campaign to the Akron-Canton region, and it's been a success also. Early numbers look, it's been up about 50%. Okay. In conclusion, basically, again, blush, the topic temporary or permanent market niche. Although most blush wines are generic, and what I mean by that, I think Doug's was a blend here, and I think Peter's, I think, was a blend also. Unlike California, where they have the white Zinfandel, most of the east of Mississippi are made by blends. It's kind of, the blush has kind of become the American, our first American generic term. People basically regard a blush almost like Chardonnay, where it's a varietal, which I think is kind of a neat phase that it's received. They're regarded, I feel strongly that the blush wines are here for the long run, and they're not just a fad. This is an original American generic wine. The consumer is comfortable asking for these wines and enjoys them with a variety of foods. Thank you.